Welcome to the Oh Brother podcast. I'm your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith.
Is that you, Dan?
It's me
I don't recognize you.
in the Oh Brother studios.
Yeah, I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, well, you're probably thinking, you're a clone of yourself because
I thought I was looking in a mirror,
we swap notes.
but I know I shaved.
No, what are
so-
you wearing? What are you wearing?
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're back again February 17th, 2021. And we are going to talk about another as we roll on with our award season episodes. We're going to review this film, Promising Young Woman,
Yes.
starring Carey Mulligan.
I don't know if the movie has been nominated, but of course she is. So
Geez, now that you say that, I just looked those up too. It's nominated for 4 Golden Globes. I know that. I think it is.
then maybe wow. It's probably in. Well, I don't know.
See if I can
Musical
look
or
that up real
comedy.
quick.
It's not in the top 5.
You might be right. It's
as far as drama.
director, screenplay, actress, and the fourth one escapes me.
Yeah, something else. Yeah, that's coming up. What, next week?
No, it is
So-
Best Motion Picture Drama.
Wow.
And so
They wasted a slot. I shouldn't say that because I'm kind of tipping my hand, but
it's interesting because this is a what I would say is another dark comedy / thriller, if you want to call it drama. Okay, I got
drama.
it. But no, but I would say dark comedy, right? Which in the spirit of
somewhere in that vein.
but it's the nomination for Best Motion Picture Drama.
That's surprising to me because they only have 5 slots.
Yeah, but when we get into talking about the tone in the subject matter, I can see where that applies. But dark comedy, I would say, in the vein of what film? Just to make sure we hold up our contractual obligations to Fat Man.
Fat Man.
And I had a similar response to watching this film as I did when I watched Fat Man, which was
Oh, really?
that, holy crap comment that I made. But so this is written and directed by Emerald Fennell, who I'd never heard of before.
We're diving right into the film.
We're diving right into the film. Did you have something else you want to talk about?
Oh, okay.
Well, no, we don't have to. I mean,
let's
get some business out of the way. Let's get some business out of the way first.
Yeah.
If you were not,
I wanted.
Can I get the business out?
We're talking over each other.
Just hold.
It's the shirt. It's the shirt.
It's the shirt. Right. I feel like I'm talking in a mirror. So if you're not following us currently, make sure that you do. And the easiest way to find all things Oh Brother, go out to our official website, which is OHB as in brother podcast.com. That's ohbpodcast.com. And you'll find links to all our social media there. You can subscribe and watch our YouTube videos there. Give us a thumbs up if you like our videos. Drop us a comment. We've got a blog that you can check out there. And we just put out a new blog about the Ma Rainey's Black Bottom.
Yes.
And Netflix. And so that's an interesting one that you can check out. We just put that out. We also have a new feature on our website, which not sure, what the lifespan will be of it, but it's a film reviews section, but there's a little different take on it. It's sort of these quick takes.
It's like a synopsis.
Right?
Yeah. And then if we've seen it, we grade it.
Jeez, I know. Can you throw up some more that I've seen? And it's funny because some of them I'm like, I don't know. 20 years ago I saw that. I'm not sure what I think of it now.
Yeah, I'm tending to, like, when I come across a movie, I've been on a tear since our last podcast watching. I mean, I'm getting in all the award things.
Yeah.
And
good.
I'm talking like, calm down, Mike. 3 movies a night, like, get a life.
Right.
And
well, I've been saying that for years.
well, yeah. a figure of speech. But
aside from the movies.
what's the issue with the Buzzsprout or something? You're having an issue finding our podcasts
What's
on.
this? So you've been rummaging through the O Brother email? Is that what it is?
I check the old brother
You know,
mail occasionally, see if people are writing fan mail to me, and I want to
once a
respond.
once a snoop, always a snoop. You get that from mom, by the way. But no. So what it is of course the site that we host our podcast on. I was reaching out to them because I've been having this issue with my Alexa devices. Now, granted, these are champagne problems, but uh, I will say, Alexa, play the O Brother podcast on Apple Podcasts or
And
Pandora.
Alexa's like, who?
No, this is exactly what happens. Is Alexa says, now playing the art of storytelling, da 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 da, whatever.
Right.
Or I get this a lot. Now playing, oh brother, where art thou? No, Alexa, oh brother. So I can't seem to figure out what's going on there, why she's not recognizing it. But anyway, so
Yeah.
they don't
Okay,
want to
let's
hear
get
about
to
this
the.
jibber
I know,
jabber.
I
Let's
know.
get into the film.
Hey, I'm just taking care
Stop
of
snooping
business.
around the emails.
Taking care of business.
All right. So promising young woman. You're
Carey
going to give us
Mulligan.
the very brief synopsis.
Okay. It's Carey Mulligan stars in Death Wish 2. How's that?
That's pretty short.
It's pretty close. Now, Carey Mulligan she was I guess a med student with her best friend growing up.
Yep.
They were in medical school, I think in the second year. Both excellent students. Her friend was like top of the class. And one night they went to a party, and which used to happen an awful lot. Luckily, I think it's getting tamer, I hope. But
I'll take that point.
But what happens is, everybody gets drunk, and guys tend to look for females who are not totally with it because they've been drinking, and they take advantage of that point. This happened to her friend. We don't really know what the outcome was or what exactly happened, but we know something bad happened. And then Carey Mulligan's character, and I forget the name of her character in the film.
Cassie,
that's it. Okay. Yes. Cassie kind of goes on a vigilante hunt. She goes, that's basically the trailer for the movie, is her kind of drunk at a bar and out of it. And a guy comes and hits on her. Hey, why don't you come to my place? And then all of a sudden she snaps out of it and is like, why? What do you want to do there?
right, and
And
reveals that she's totally sober.
Totally sober. And then it gets a little darker as she finds the guys who attacked. So it isn't really clear what happened to Cassie's friend. We learn bits and pieces as the movie goes on. But ultimately, and if you've seen the trailer, which I remember seeing this trailer, like so many movies, I saw the trailer so long ago, I almost forgot about the movie until I saw the nominations. And I remember seeing it saying, yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out. So Cassie goes on kind of a hunt for guys that are preying on women who get inebriated or get drunk, or in some cases, guys even, buy them drinks trying to get them into that state where they can take advantage of them. And kind of turns into a vigilante movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean she's basically trying to avenge
Yeah.
what happened to her friend, and primarily going after the men, like you said, but confronting them and in the way that she's doing it, but also other people that had a hand in that incident, you know.
Yes.
And so I would say it's actually women too that are involved in her uh revenge trips, if you will.
Right.
So so that's a pretty good premise.
And
Summing up.
the women weren't involved in the assault, but they were in, they knew about it. They were onlookers chuckling about it,
Well,
you
and I would
know.
argue then there is a level of involvement there. I
Well,
mean,
yeah, yeah, you could
you're
call that. It's like when you don't help,
mhm,
are you, that was a big thing in law school. Like, um, some states have laws. I think there's one in Florida where it's a good citizen,
good
law,
Samaritan.
good Samaritan law. That's the word I was looking for. And like, say you're walking by a pond and you see somebody drowning, and you fail to help them. You say, "Hey, screw it, man. I'm not jumping in that water." Are you liable? And the reason that law is because if you go in and help them and say you get them around the neck to kind of swim back to shore and you snap their neck or somehow aid to them dying, well, then their family turns around and sues you as part of the murder. So that's why they have Good Samaritan laws in almost every state now.
So, I mean, it seems pretty obvious, but what's your take on it?
Well, I liked Carey Mulligan as Cat. I've always liked her. Um, she was kind of like a young actress, up and coming, and then to me, she disappeared. I was like, I haven't seen. When I saw her, I'm like, I haven't seen her in anything. But when you look at her, she's constantly been working, but just on shows that I tend not to watch or whatever. I think she's done more TV. So I liked her. I thought she did a really good job, um, from an acting standpoint, but it did turn to me into a little bit of Death Wish, that this is like she's become a vigilante and
Yeah, but I think you're saying, but are you saying that because you think she's going around murdering all these guys? Because that's not what's happening.
well, not
There's
in every case, but
there's no proof that's happening at all. There really isn't. If you go back and watch it carefully, that's not really. I mean, it could be implied. You might fill in those blanks with that
I think
outcome,
I
but
did. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
filled
and I
in some of
think
those
that's
blanks.
because I think Death Wish. First of all, that's insulting, but as was Death Wish 2 to Death Wish 1. But I
Right.
think that's why you're saying that. But I don't think that's not really what was going on. It was more about the confrontation itself. I think again, even though they filmed it and it was directed in a way that implied that. For
Yeah.
example, there's one. I'll just describe one scene at the very beginning where
Yeah.
she's leaving one of these encounters because it was an early scene, but it was one of the first ones where it's like, wow, I really liked the directing, um, that this woman, pulled off in this film. This is her
Mhm.
directorial debut, by the way.
I didn't know that.
And she's being nominated. I mean, she's again another one of these young women. That's what is there,
Just
4 or 5 this
yeah,
year?
there's
That
three
three,
that
okay.
are nominated, and Chloe, from
Zhao, yeah,
Nomad, it's only her third film.
from Nomadland, yeah.
So these are new directors too.
But she's leaving Carey Mulligan's character is leaving one of these encounters, and she's walking down the street, and the shot goes from her feet as she's walking, slowly pans up to full frame, and you see her head. And as it's panning up from her feet, you see like these what appear to be blood stains, like on her stockings, and then it goes up, and you see it on her arm, and then
Yeah.
as it pans out, you realize she's eating a hot dog, and the
Yeah.
ketchup is running all over the place. And I just, I thought that was like,
Yeah.
okay, that's what we're in for, at least, from a directing standpoint with this film.
It sounds like you liked it
I did.
quite a
I
bit.
did. I thought it was a really good film. I
Yeah.
thought, and again, I would keep coming back and referring to it as a dark comedy. And maybe probably a little bit more emphasis on the dark because of the subject matter, because since the Me Too movement, and like every
Right.
day there's something in the headlines, and incidents across the country at colleges and universities and things. And if you look up the statistics, they're staggering even now. And you mentioned earlier, I would argue it's certainly not getting any better. It's maybe just as
Well,
prevalent, and if not more. So
I think what,
one in six women
but I
in their
think,
lifetime are victims of either attempted or completed rape. That's
right.
pretty
And I think what's changed is
significant.
people are stepping up and reporting it. I think that's the difference. It's kind of like, you know, if you don't test people for the virus, we don't know how many people have the virus.
In some cases, again, you'd have to look at those statistics, but it depends. Like men tend to report, not surprisingly, but they tend to report much less than women. And so those
Right.
statistics are always going to be skewed to a certain
Plus,
degree.
women have the, it's is again going back to law. Women have the problem that if they accuse somebody of rape, they get put on trial because what were you wearing?
A-
Well, we're, you know what I mean? That's like a typical thing. They become,
Absolutely.
it boomerangs and they become the victim, so they don't report it because they don't want to go through that, which is really sad.
And that was
Um,
certainly emphasized in a few of the scenes in the film, right? There's
yeah,
some characters that basically are saying that, like, oh well, what do you expect? That
yeah,
he's
they're
drinking so much and what
right,
she's wearing and et cetera. Like that has anything to do with anything.
exactly.
And that's what I think as you watch this film, and again, dark comedy, there are some quote unquote light moments, if you will, but they're few
I
and
th-
far between. But I thought they were nicely, they were placed in appropriate spots. I never felt as though it was jarring to go from one tone to the other. I thought the change in tones she did a really nice job with in terms of directing.
yeah, because she's a hard nosed kind of girl, is Cassie, and she's not good at being nice to people in general because of this situation. She kind of lacks trust in everybody.
Yeah, that's
And
trust, right?
as the movie goes on, she loosens up a little bit, and starts to date this guy and kind of, you know, she adds a little trust into her life. My problem with the movie, I remember when I told you to watch this, I said I think you'll enjoy watching it.
Yeah, I did.
Because I always try to turn you on to movies that will entertain you, and even if it's it'll keep you glued, even if it's a negative topic like this.
Hmm.
But my problem with the movie was the ending. I felt like it fell apart at the end.
Well, yeah, I take that point. What I would say about that is I felt this was one where see, this is interesting because this was just about a 2-hour movie, I think.
It was about 145 it clocked in at.
And I believe this originally came out on Christmas, but it just hit streaming like a month ago, right? Mid-January.
Yeah.
And but the ending, I felt it seemed rushed. And I think that's maybe why to you it felt that like it was sort of coming apart at the seams, because this is one I think they could have used a little extra time to flesh that out more. It's like then to wrap up a lot of stuff and play out a pretty significant conclusion in a very short period of time, because that doesn't really kick off until like the last 10 minutes of the film.
Right.
So I
And
just think the pacing of that was a little rushed.
again, without giving spoilers, because the ending,
Hmm.
there's a lot going on at the end. And I think that's what you're kind of saying is there's
Yeah.
a lot of work to do in
Right.
that last 10 minutes.
Right. Right.
And I think the way it was done, it just kind of, it had a good pace. Things were unfolding well. And then I think it just was like took off, you know. And I didn't like the very ending. And I can't. with I'm not going to give away the ending,
Right.
but without spoiling, when people see it,
Well,
you'll kind of think back and
and people are seeing it. And I think if you look at Rotten Tomatoes, it's critics 91, audience 88. I mean, it's
yeah,
being
so it's
well
that's pretty
received.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
mean, to get I'm shocked that it's nominated for a Golden Globe. I didn't have that
for
in my
best picture, you
head
mean?
for Best
Promise. Yeah,
Picture.
yeah. And I want to say you mentioned this guy that she starts actually opening up to and
Yeah.
trusting. I
Yeah.
just wanted to mention Bo Burnham. He is I thought he did a fantastic job.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I wouldn't have been shocked to see him nominated in a best supporting actor role. I thought he was that good, and their chemistry was really, really good on screen.
I agree. I thought he was good. I thought
He was
um
so, we talked about this last episode with Nomadland and Francis McDormand, not to launch him into that category yet, but uh, he's just very natural on screen,
yes.
and so I was really impressed by his performance. And I liked the way they played off of each other. It was really nice.
And basically Cassie works in a coffee shop. That's what she does. She dropped out of med school.
Yeah,
She's working in a coffee shop, and that's how they meet. He comes in for coffee, and it turns out he was in med school with her.
right, right.
And I don't think she remembers him at all. And he tries to flirt with her. And, uh, you know, I won't give away the funny part, but she kind of, in her way says, I'm not having it, take a walk.
Yeah, one of my favorite lines in the film is at one point he says to her, "Do you want to have dinner, you miserable asshole?"
Yeah.
That gives you sort of a sense of the tone of the film. Again, the dark comedy. It was, and the directing, I say this a lot, I know on the show, but the look of the film, there's so many awesome shots in this film, like the framing. There's some really striking shots that anybody that watches it will pick up on, and just kind of like, that's pretty nice. It gives
Yeah.
you that sort of reaction. And the supporting cast, I mean, what Jennifer Coolidge and Clancy Brown, I really enjoyed him as her father.
Yeah.
All the things we've seen him in over the years, just numerous resume of numerous
Correct.
films.
Correct. He's one of those guys you're like, I know him.
Right, from about
What do I
400 things.
Right, right,
But in
right.
this, he was, I don't know, he was like just played it so perfectly as her
Eh,
father, such a
eh,
sympathetic character. And
the dean of
yes,
the medical school too. She's from Friday Night Lights.
right. And Molly
That's
Shannon from SNL fame
that's
was in
right,
it. She
right.
was great.
Yeah, Molly Shannon played the mother of her friend.
That's right.
So they knew each other. She knew her whole life.
Yeah, Laverne Cox and who else am I missing? It was a really solid
Good
supporting
cast.
cast. Yeah,
No, I honestly, well, I recommended the film to you in a sense because I
right.
wanted you to see it, and I I just there's just an issue I have at the end that bothers me so much that I think it hurt.
But would you recommend the film?
Oh, I would recommend the
Okay.
film.
And I think that's important to mention, as would I. I would highly recommend it. And I want to say, just like I said with Nomadland, the subject matter is important enough. And I would hope that, there's for anyone who's listening and taking our recommendation, that you go into it with an open mind, and you don't think this is some man shaming movie or something like that. But the subject matter is serious,
It
and
is
it's as
serious.
relevant today as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And I like the way that she dealt with it. And my understanding is the title was based on this guy, an actual case, this guy who in 2016 was convicted, I believe, of rape, and it was referred to as a promising young man. And
Hmm.
that's where the title comes from. And but it's really serious subject matter, but it's so well done. You never feel like a certain uh opinion, or you're being judged, or like it's being imposed upon you. It's just sort of, it's there for you to make a judgment and receive it however you want to. Aside from that, it's just a really well directed film with some great acting.
Yeah. I don't disagree with anything you've said. So we're we're almost in lockstep,
Yeah.
except
And I'm with you with the ending, as far as there was something about it as it was unfolding. I was like, yeah, something's off here. It just feels a little, and I
it
thought it was the
deserved.
pacing. It was too
Yeah, I
quick.
thought it deserved a better ending
But I would
because
imagine the majority of listeners that who may watch it, and I would, again, we would highly recommend you do, they probably won't have as much of an issue. We're just
probably not.
sometimes so critical about some of those
Yeah,
nuances.
yeah.
Um, One of the things too, quick side note, I don't know why, if this makes sense to you. I kept thinking of the movie Heathers while I was watching this. Does that make sense to you? Remember the movie Heathers with
Gosh, yeah, with Winona
Winona
Ryder.
Ryder and I want
I
to
know I
say
have it. I know it's
Jack
behind
Christian
me here.
Slater. Yeah.
Right. In fact, Pump Up the Volume just came out on Blu-ray, which is weird.
Because
Um,
Heathers is a great 80s dark comedy. So
yeah, like
I felt as though
Girls.
it was in the same vein as that.
Yeah, that was more like I felt it was more like a peer pressure movie,
Well,
trying to
again,
be in the clique.
another topic that's
Girls.
as relevant today as it was when that movie
Yeah,
came out, which was like 1987 or something.
right, right. This when I was watching this, I definitely thought, "Oh, this is a result of the Me Too movement." I don't think this film might have gotten made without that movement.
Yeah.
So,
I
and
don't
again,
know. I don't know.
it's a serious topic,
Hmm.
but she handles it in a way that, to say, "Oh, I was entertained when I was watching this movie about women getting taken advantage of," sounds a little oxymoronish, but
Well, yeah. And again, I think she, all credit to the way that she handled it.
yeah,
Just really well done. I mean, for a directorial debut, wow. I mean, there's
yeah, really good.
really impressive. So,
But I definitely wouldn't put it in the top 5.
no,
And
and I
I
don't,
don't think there's any way it wins.
and I don't know that, I don't know. I'm not sure that I would see Carey Mulligan winning over Frances McDormand. And again, I haven't seen like Viola Davis. I haven't seen a
Right,
few of the other
right.
films yet, but
I've seen them
but I
all.
will. But I will. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And I think she was great,
oh
but
yeah, she's great.
but
She's great.
not on that level.
Yeah, and maybe it's just not a fair comparison based on the films, but
Yeah.
it's just very different. But well, Promising Young Women. So there's a recommendation from Oh Brother for you. Check this one out. Um, I don't know if you noticed, I sort of, as you tend to do, I swap some things up in the Oh Brother
Yeah, I was
Studios
trying
here.
to figure out
So
what's that?
what I
Is that
so what I did
Matrix?
was so what I did was I swapped out. You couldn't see the Godfather Omerta edition really.
Ah,
So
okay.
I
So
had to
you
put in this, other special edition I have.
good.
Um, and then of course you have to have Baby Yoda, of course, the
Yeah,
Mandalorian. We won't get into
Grogu.
that, but that's been in the news lately. Go Google it and you'll find that out. I don't want to go down
In
that
the news
path.
for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah. And then of course Citizen Kane is still there. And over here, I
Solo and
well,
Rocky.
this is all the same. Yeah.
That shelf is the same.
But
So
here,
yes. What do we got?
because now we're less than a year away from the fourth installment of The Matrix. So I have
Ah,
my guardian angel here, Trinity,
okay.
right? And then,
Yeah,
of course, I have the Matrix collection right above that.
got it.
And yeah, so this was folk, this was not the cheapest purchase. I'm just going to say that it's not really in high production. So
Oh,
I paid
really?
I paid a few bucks for that to have that on the shelf, but I like it. I
Really?
think it's yeah. I'm gonna trying to beef up my Funko Pop collection.
And
Now, what do you
behind
got going
me,
on over there?
I've got, the Back to the Future 4K box set.
Oh, I almost put that up there.
Yeah, I've got Lincoln
Nice,
for Black History Month.
Daniel Day Lewis.
Yeah, excellent. He won for that. There's Mel Brooks
Mel
because
Brooks.
I can't get Anne Bancroft. I watched an early Anne Bancroft movie this week.
Yeah.
I think it was Gunfighter with Gregory Peck,
Oh, right, right.
and it's haunting me. And then over here I just have King Kong because there's that new movie coming out, which is probably going to be terrible.
Now, is
And
that the
then
original
Avatar.
King Kong? Original King Kong?
No, this is
Skull
the
Island?
Kong Skull Island. Yeah.
Which I actually like that one.
Yeah, the one that's supposedly in this new version coming out.
And then you have Alien. Oh no, Avatar. You said
Avatar's up there,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that'll be coming. When is that coming?
Pretty soon. I mean, according to Sigourney Weaver, they've already got 2 and 3 done.
Now, Matrix was supposed to be out in May, but it's scheduled to be released December 22nd, folks.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, did they move the date?
Yeah.
Are
Yeah,
they
like so
filming
many.
now?
I'm not sure if it's in post-production or if they're still filming. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I'm not sure.
Is it just who's coming back for that? I'm just curious.
Well, I know that
Keanu, obviously.
I know Keanu
couldn't
and,
make it without him.
right, and Carey Ann Moss is coming back.
Right.
And,
But other than that, I haven't heard anybody else.
no, I haven't either.
Okay. All right.
Well, that's going to do it for another episode of the Yo Brother podcast. I've been your host, Dan Smith. Alongside me, as always, my brother from the same mother, Mike Smith. And we'll see you next time.
Dan, you want to go to dinner, you miserable asshole? Bye, everyone.